The faster you execute, the faster you become him. The faster your ideas become reality. The faster you become the person that you've always dreamed of being. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Manifesting Stardom. I'm Jamai. This is my journey to being the biggest star in the world. And you guys take the route with me, take the journey with me as I study, as I pray, as I work, as I grind, as I manifest. And so I saw a quote on somewhere, and I think I saw a video on TikTok. Um, and it was really geared for women talking about dating different men. And she was saying that she dated a guy that was a millionaire, but he always texted her back immediately. And then I saw something, and the premise of that was like, basically, if a guy likes you, he likes you. He's not going to delay reaching back out to you or whatever. And I saw somewhere else where somebody said, billionaires do everything fast. And so this was just like echoing concept that I've been hearing lately, that like basically really successful people don't put a lot of time between the time which they come up with an idea to the execution. There's not a large gap from which when they come up with something and they execute on it. And so that whole theory just introduced me to the concept that like billionaires, millionaires, successful people do everything fast. And so when you're a person that grows up thinking like you gotta analyze, you need to plan, you need to be organized, and you need to be thorough and make wise decisions, which is all great things, but those perspectives can hinder you when it's time to really be a change maker, really do something to really like take a big risk and get a big reward. Sometimes, a lot of times, you have to just execute. And that goes into the concept of quality over quantity and quantity over quality. Because a lot of times we look at the quality being the most important thing when we execute or when we produce or when we create things, but the reality is the quantity is the only thing that will get you to quality. In other words, it doesn't matter how well the piece of content is, because it's going to take you a certain amount of times to get to the good quality that is deemed the good or perfect or professional or top tier or elite in any way. But the only way to get to that quality is by quantity, is by doing it so many times and being so good at it that you eventually produce a certain level of quality. And so a lot of times we get stuck on making sure it's quality, making sure the video is perfect, making sure we got the right coloring and the right edits or the right concept or the right hook or the right thumbnail. But the reality is you will only get that good by doing it hundreds of times. And so our focus, our end goal of what success should be is by merely getting it done. And so if that's the end goal, why is there a big gap between the time we come up with an idea to the time we execute it? And so we have to learn to shorten that gap. And I'm super guilty of it because as an artist, I want things to look a certain way. I have things that I want to be perceived a certain way. I have a certain aesthetic. But even me creating this vlog was me dismantling that whole concept that everything has to be, look, sound perfect. It's more about your work getting out into the world and being published than it is important to have it be perfect, because perfect is always a moving target. And a lot of times what we create in the moment can only represent us for this version of us. So sometimes we might create something today, like for artists, I might create a song today, but because I'm waiting to put it out, by the time I put it out, I may have evolved and not even really be in that space anymore. I may not be that same person. I may be able to sing better or play an instrument better or produce better or songwrite better. And so that song might be a time capsule for where I was at that time in my life, but it no longer accurately represents me. That's why it's good to, when you come up with the idea, to execute the idea as soon as possible. And once I realized that wealthy people do everything fast. That gave me the license, and I'm giving you the it should give you the license to no longer wait or ruminate or ponder or analyze about what your next move should be, or what how perfect something should be. Just do. Just do it. And so once it's out, once you do it, once you reach out to the to the potential client, once you create the book or write the book, once you create the draft, once you reach out to the business partner or the potential investor, now you have an answer. Now you have more knowledge than you did before you did it. And so that's probably the primary, most important reason why you should do everything fast. My first point here is delayed obedience equals lost opportunity. Most people do not fail because they're incapable. They fail because they hesitate. A lot of times we hesitate on what it is that we want to do, and nothing's happened, but time is passing. And so you've either missed an opportunity, or you have prolonged something that could have been done so that you can go on to the next phase. You get the idea, you get the spark, you get the inspiration, and it all makes sense. But then you wait, you analyze, you question, you research, and so, excuse me. Then you end up start doubting because that momentum has died, that moment has passed. Like I said, like I would get a song. I know that if I get a song in my heart, if I get a melody, if I get a concept, and it's even fuzzy, but I know if I get that, I know I gotta pull my phone out immediately and record what I have. And it's mumble and it's jumble and it's a little, it might be half me doing a drum pattern and then half me singing a melody, and then I might have one lyric. But I put that down because if I don't hold on to that, it may never come back. I can't tell you growing up how many songs I have. I would be in the middle of writing a song, and then I get a phone call, or I would go do something, come back, the whole idea is gone. I got the lyrics, can't figure out what the melody was, can't remember the lyrics. So I always make sure I pull my phone out immediately to record a song I did, just so that I can have it to come back to it, to finish it. And so we have to continue to shorten that gap between the time we come up with an idea to the time we execute the idea. And the scripture for that is Ecclesiastes 11:4. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. If you keep waiting for perfect conditions, if you keep waiting for the sun, for it to be a beautiful sunny day for you to plant your seed, you'll be waiting forever. It'll never be perfect conditions. You'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough time. You'll never know enough people. You'll never feel like it enough. You'll never have all of the right connections. It'll never be the right time. You have to create it. And I can look back on my career, every win that I've taken, every win that I've accumulated, and success that I've done has all been because I just jumped. Because I told myself I can produce my own music. That's how I released an album with 23 songs that range from genres of opera to doo-wop to hip-hop to reggae to Afrobeat, all within the same album. I produced my own album, 23 songs, told my story, told my mother's story of domestic violence and abuse. You know what I'm saying? But that was only because I told myself I can do it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even have all the equipment. I didn't even have a computer. I had an iPad. I started recording on my iPad. Eventually got a laptop and eventually got a desktop. But I just started. I started with piano. I got Piano for Dummies. I'm going to go page by page. I'm going to start page by page. I did that for a year and a half. Then I got piano lessons. And that's how I started with teaching myself how to cut hair. All of that all started from me teaching myself guitar. I told myself I'd give myself a year and I'll do guitar for dummies. I gave myself a year and I'm self-sufficient in playing guitar without ever taking lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that is because I just decided to start. I didn't say one day when I get famous, then I'm gonna pay for a piano teacher, then I'm gonna pay for guitar lessons. No, I just started. And the path illuminates itself as you start, because once I picked up guitar, it raised my earning potential as a singer to make more money being able to play instruments for myself. So uh you'll always do well investing in yourself over. My dog is going crazy. It's the mailman. My dog goes crazy like the mailman don't come every day. But yeah, you'll always do better investing in yourself over investing in somebody else or something else. So your best bet is to invest in a skill, invest in some kind of knowledge that will continue to make you better as a person. And so you can't wait to do that for perfect conditions. You can't wait to invest in yourself to have another skill and another trade, because when it's time to make more money, when new opportunities come, you'll have to have had that ability to make more money, or the ability to acquire to gain the context from that skill that you invested in. So it's always better to just jump and just move. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say, even though I'm not where I want to be in life yet, that where I am is because I jumped every time. I tried to take calculated risks. Sometimes they weren't calculated well enough, but I just had enough belief in myself, enough belief in the vision, and just jumped plenty times. The second point is speed builds faith, not just results. And that's just what it is. You think you need more confidence before you act, but that's not true. You don't need more confidence. You don't need to see how it all going to play out. You don't need to have it all lined up, because that's technically impossible for you. You know what I'm saying? Action is what creates the confidence. Action is what creates the confidence. Nobody can confidently say that I go to the gym, 4 or 5 days a week, and I am a fit, or I'm a healthy person if they don't go to the gym. You can't say that with confidence. You know what I'm saying? And even without audibly saying it, when you start going to the gym, the way you walk, the way you present yourself says it. Nothing builds confidence, which is also faith, like action. You can't say that you trust God and you believe God if you're not in his word consistently, if you're not praying to him consistently. You can't say that you truly have salvation and you trust the Lord if you're not communicating with him, if you're not praying. You can't believe if you don't pray. You can't believe if you aren't having some kind of dialogue with God. You can't believe, because when it's real, you reach for real. You reach for the things that you believe when you know you need, or when you desire things. And so I think that's a big part of faith. It has to be deliberate. It has to be active. It has to be intentional. And so action is what creates the confidence. Every time you move fast on something, you prove to yourself that you're capable. Every time you make a move on something, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You build trust with yourself. You start to strengthen your identity for what you believe for yourself, or who you know you are. You know what I mean? You strengthen your identity as a doer, as a person that get things done, as a ambitious being. You know what I'm saying? And so the scripture for that is James 2:17. Faith by itself, it is not accompanied by action. I'm sorry. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Faith is just belief. Faith isn't just a belief, it's movement. You know what I mean? When you start to walk down the trail, it illuminates itself, but you got to start to see more. So every step you get closer, you start seeing a little more, but you ain't going to see it all from back here. But when you make that first step, you'll see a little further. You make the next step, things become clearer, and you just start making steps. You may not ever see to the end. We'll never know all of what's before us, months and years ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? Or even moment to moment. But once we move forward and we step forward, the path illuminates itself. You know what I'm saying? The last point is God responds to movement, not just hesitation. You've been praying, you've been visualizing, you've been manifesting, but what are you doing? What are you doing? What actions are you actively that are measurable, that are sizable? What are you doing? What did you do today? And what did you do yesterday? And what did you do the day before for God to respond to say, oh, you really want this? Oh, you really serious? Oh, you really disciplined? If somebody looked at your last 72 hours based off of what you said you want, would they be able to tell that you really do want it based off of your actions from the last 72 hours? You know what I'm saying? You don't need the full plan, but you do need movement. And the scripture for that is Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. It doesn't say wait until you're ready. It says go and God will be with you. Walk and a path will illuminate itself. And I mean, I've been walking blindly for a long time, but the more you move forward, the more you learn. The more you travel, and not just physically travel, but the more you travel in your dream, the more you travel and move forward, you know what I'm saying? The more knowledge you learn, the more wisdom you gain, the more connects and opportunities that you gain just by moving. They always say, women be like, they looking for a husband, and then they be like, well, you gotta get out the house, sis. Like, you can't just go to work and go home. But if you're looking to be found, you gotta get out the house. And it's the same thing with us in our dreams and in our opportunities. You can't expect to create a business when you are not doing anything to make that business move. You're not putting the business out there. You're not creating content. You're not meeting people. You're not introducing yourself as a person that offers that service. You know what I'm saying? You're not actively putting in the work. And so the bottom line is, like, you might feel stuck, but maybe you feel stuck because that gap of what you come up with your ideas to the time you actually execute them needs to be shortened. You know what I'm saying? And we're humans, and it'll always be other things. It'll always be a juggling trick. Like, that's what life is. But we have to prioritize what is the most important at this moment for the greater good and the longevity of our future. You know what I'm saying? And so every day you may not make the best decision, but most days you need to make the right decision that is going to benefit you in the long run for your tomorrow, so that you can actually be proud of yourself and actually be proud of something. You know what I'm saying? So shorten that gap. Do it fast. You got an idea? Do it fast. Execute it fast. Done is better than perfect. Execute. I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.